Speaks, the Roundtable Listen, Tuesday and Thursday, 10 p.m. Join the conversation that matter the most, live, unfiltered, unapologetic, with local voices and international minds. The Roundtable dive deep into today's toughest questions in society, politics, culture. Nothing is off limits. Your voice, your questions, your platform. Live on Wiz TV, featuring top panelists Mr. Samuel Abu, Mr. Ahmed Fofana, Mr. Cyrus Gray, Mr. Jai Blamo, and your host, William McGill. Heated debate, eye-opening truths, and real impact. Tune in to the Roundtable every Tuesday and Thursday, only on Wiz TV Live. The Roundtable, where every voice counts. When the nation speaks, the Roundtable Listen, Tuesday and Thursday, 10 p.m. Join the conversation that matter the most, live, unfiltered, unapologetic, with local voices and international minds. The Roundtable dive deep into today's toughest questions in society, politics, culture. Nothing is off limits. Your voice, your questions, your platform. Live on Wiz TV, featuring top panelists Mr. Samuel Abu, Mr. Ahmed Fofana, Mr. Cyrus Gray, Mr. Jai Blamo, and your host, William McGill. Heated debate, eye-opening truths, and real impact. Tune in to the Roundtable every Tuesday and Thursday, only on Wiz TV Live. The Roundtable, where every voice counts. When the nation speaks, the Roundtable Listen, Tuesday and Thursday, 10 p.m. Join the conversation that matter the most, live, unfiltered, unapologetic, with local voices and international minds. The Roundtable dive deep into today's toughest questions in society, politics, culture. Nothing is off limits. Your voice, your questions, your platform. Live on Wiz TV, featuring top panelists Mr. Samuel Abu, Mr. Ahmed Fofana, Mr. Cyrus Gray, Mr. Jai Blamo, and your host, William McGill. Heated debate, eye-opening truths, and real impact. Tune in to the Roundtable every Tuesday and Thursday, only on Wiz TV Live. The Roundtable, where every voice counts. When the nation speaks, the Roundtable Listen, Tuesday and Thursday, 10 p.m. Join the conversation that matter the most, live, unfiltered, unapologetic, with local voices and international minds. The Roundtable dive deep into today's toughest questions in society, politics, culture. Nothing is off limits. Your voice, your questions, your platform. Live on Wiz TV, featuring top panelists Mr. Samuel Abu, Mr. Ahmed Fofana, Mr. Cyrus Gray, Mr. Jai Blamo, and your host, William McGill. Heated debate, eye-opening truths, and real impact. Tune in to the Roundtable every Tuesday and Thursday, only on Wiz TV Live. The Roundtable, where every voice counts.
Police. And he is resisting. He is resisting arrest. He is resisting arrest.
So they are not carrying. Yeah. So as you can see, after you are being arrested,
for no reason. So
the official people belonging to Christopher Baba 112. Deputy Commissioner of Police is popularly known as.
Were you among the guys who were throwing stones?
No. Never.
Can you confirm that people were throwing stones?
I'm not. The people talking, that may not be good. I say, Mr. Taraga is saying, on a pattern, you are developing in that town. He says, chief, doing pattern through the police of provide food, water to surveillance. Why not today? So what's the disappointment? Because I'm very disappointed because police.
I'm Melvin from the Melvin. Melvin from I don't see my president coming. That's what I hear for. But I'm really disappointed by the police releasing tear gas. For me, I go on police training. You know, you will.
Why you not in the police?
Yeah?
Why you not in the police?
No, I don't want to buy police.
But you went on a police training.
Yeah, but
How did you manage to go on a police training?
I went on the camera, I drove yes, 7 since I said I don't want to follow you, so I just have my business. I do my business.
So you were trained on a academy by the Agua National Police?
Yeah, for 2 months.
But due to the business strategy,
yeah, I want to go back to school, I want to go back to college.
So why?
So the police, we came here this morning for us to receive our president. So they were trying to talk to us. So Rocky went to the bag. So after Rocky went to the bag, they said, oh, they go to
who told the Rock?
No, actually I don't know because we're talking to them.
Which arm was the bag?
Talking to them. They keep running to outside when they back. So the police I tear gas. I said, officer, you need to shoot tear gas because you see one rock coming. You are trained to protect yourself and you are trained to protect the citizens. So you're not just see one rock, they start releasing tear gas for your citizens.
Following the one stone that was very true, we also saw more stones coming from the bag.
Come again?
Actually, as they're following the stone that was then thrown, we also witnessed a lot of stones being thrown at the National Police, something that escalated the tension between the Nigerian National Police and also the support of the Coalition for Democratic Change. So today, what's your impression as a citizen?
My impression is, I don't say there should not be tear gas, but it's not every small thing that you see you tear gas for the citizen. I'm not problem there. It's not small thing you will see that you just see one rock coming and you just are using tear gas on the citizen. It's not really right. For me, I will treat for me, you can I'll be talking to you, you slap me, I will not talk. And, I will speak to you, I say, my man, I can't avoid you. All like all we are citizens. But we just doing our work, but you have to calm down for all to have dialogue between us. But sooner they see tear gas, the minute you fast, sooner they see one rally, the way say you perform, you say you'll be a frack.
So is that why you have your
yeah, that's why because we are president can maybe the one stop and I will not go around it. So I said, well, we have protection.
The tear gas, excuse me. What a man lost from water, I'm here. Who man? The police, is here. They get out, the people or they get down.
So he sustains on that.
They cannot make it. So I want you to know.
They didn't make it. What do you mean she didn't make it?
I was coming here today. I told the people say when they gonna kill somebody. Yeah,
what do you mean they didn't make it?
Because she went off.
Did she die in the process?
Yeah.
Has that been reported coming
yes.
in the hospital? Can you confirm?
They get down. The police man back here. So I get confirm they get down. Myself, I almost go about being out again. I'm still resisting. I want me to say living.
Let us see what.
See that.
Someone buy it too. That one buy it.
Is here. The power need to get people today. They just said
so many directions, so many ways to protect ourselves.
That's so revenue, steady your revenue. So revenue.
Maybe to just feedback, maybe like comment.
What about putting me back? No, you must know. The question I said, as the man, now the policeman now want to.
The Assembly will hear an address by His Excellency Joseph Numa Boakai, Sr., President of the Republic of Liberia. I request protocol to escort His Excellency and invite him to address the Assembly.
His Excellency, Herman Yagan, President of the 7th and 9th session of the United Nations General Assembly, His Excellency Mr. Antonio Guterres, Secretary General of the United Nations, Excellencies, Heads of State and Government, Ambassadors, Heads of Delegations, and esteemed delegates, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I'm honored to address the 79th regular session of the United Nations General Assembly for the first time as President on behalf of the government and people of Liberia after a smooth back-to-back democratic transition. Liberia congratulates His Excellency Philemon Yagun on his election as President of the 79th session of the United Nations General Assembly. You can be assured of Liberia's support as you steer the affairs of the General Assembly. I extol His Excellency Dennis Francis for his astute leadership during his presidency of the 78th session of the General Assembly and commend his determination to inspire and rekindle hope globally. I deeply thank Secretary General Antonio Guterres for the remarkable and visionary leadership he continues to provide in pursuit of our collective mandate. Mr. President, Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, in the summer of 1945, Liberia joined other nations in San Francisco as one of the original signatories to the United Nations Charter. On that fatal day, the world, having suffered the scourge of war, was full of hope and determined to reverse the past. Nearly 80 years on, and reflecting on the preamble of the United Nations Charter, which declares our commitment to promote social progress and better standard of life and larger freedom, we ask the question, has our reaffirmation of faith in the dignity and worth of human person made 8 decades ago had been realized? We must admit that the world has changed and the frontiers that we now embrace are different. In it, greed, insensitivity to the poor, the international drug epidemic, money laundering, dynamics of climate change, and the impact of social media must compel us to rethink our approach to global peace and security. Our beloved United Nations must undergo the institutional and philosophical reflections required to respond to the new age. As we assemble under this theme, unity in diversity for advancement of peace, sustainable development, and human dignity for everyone, everywhere, it is important to recognize the shared values and collective efforts that come from our unity with diversity. We must acknowledge these as essential for the advancement of peace, sustainable development, and the inherent dignity of every human being worldwide. By doing so, we can build a better world where no one is left behind. Like many nations gathered at this assembly, Liberia recommits to the Sustainable Development Goals. Since the end of the country's conflict, we have strived to follow a development path that will lead to building a capable state. 12 years ago, we dared to dream of a future within the realm of possibility, harboring core national aspirations to transform the future. Named Liberia Rising or Vision 2030, it has been the driving force behind all of our planning efforts. The building of blocks and the tenets of Vision 2030 are significantly aligned with the Sustainable Development Goals. Our government's Arrest Agenda is a comprehensive approach developed to address the economic and social needs of millions of Liberians, especially the youth, who account for 60% of our population. With emphasis on agriculture, roads, infrastructure, development, justice, and the rule of law, education, sanitation, health, and tourism, the agenda had mainstreamed the SDGs as is designed to take Liberia to the finish line of the 2030 Sustainable Development Goals. The fight against poverty, the promotion of human dignity, a steadfast commitment. Despite our progress, poverty remains a significant challenge, with over half of our population living below the poverty line. The Sustainable Development Goals aim to eradicate poverty in all forms by 2030, ensure social protection for the poor and vulnerable, improve the access to essential services. Liberia is dedicated to assessing the levels and the causes of poverty and implementing strategies to reduce it and promote shared prosperity. My government also acknowledges pressing need to address maternal and newborn mortality by implementing robust monitoring and evaluation of health services in the country to accelerate the reduction of maternal and newborn mortality. We are particularly blessed and pleased with the United Nations HC Joint Mission to Liberia this year, which concluded a commitment to combat the high burden of increasing newborn deaths. We welcome the United Nations General Assembly's decision to declare July 25th as the International Day of Women and Girls of African Descent this year. This significant milestone acknowledges that women and girls of African descent have unique opportunities, but they also have challenges that the global fight against slavery and racism is necessary to achieve gender equality. Liberia credits its credentials by producing the first woman president of the United Nations General Assembly, Angie Brooks Randall, and first female president of Africa, President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. Liberia has witnessed and continues to witness the immense contribution of women and girls of African descent in politics, culture, and every area of societal development. Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Liberia has enjoyed uninterrupted peace for almost 2 decades, following the 14 years of civil conflict. During this time, we have held 4 democratic elections, with last year's election marking the 4th since the return to democratic order in 2006. In January this year, Liberia achieved a historic milestone by peacefully transitioning from one democratic government to the other. This progress is significant because before the 2018 transition, the last democratic transition occurred in 1944, about 74 years earlier. We are gradually fostering and solidifying our democratic culture, ensuring that democracy is here to stay in Liberia. Now it is time for our people to reap the democratic dividends. The rule of law is fundamental for peace, justice, strong institution, and dignity for a human person. Liberia is taking significant strides towards openness, transparency, and accountability by empowering and supporting transparent institutions. Our government is committed to implementing audit recommendations by the General Audit Commission to restore public and donors' confidence in the governance system and improve regional and international cooperation. In addition, the country has taken a major step in confronting its conflict past to ensure accountability and justice for crimes and other human rights violations committed during the war and promote healing and national reconciliation. A significant development in our transitional justice process was the signing on May 2, 2024 of the Executive Order 131 to create the Office of Establishment of War and Economic Crime Court for Liberia, a key recommendation from the Truth and Reconciliation process in Liberia. Our actions align with the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, joint follow-up on impunity and past human rights violations. As we embark on the process and acknowledge the enormity of the task, my government seeks the support of the United Nations, partners, stakeholders in the pursuit of justice for victims, peace, and reconciliation. Liberia is facing a drug crisis that is affecting our youth and jeopardizing the country's future. This epidemic, driven by international criminal enterprises and their networks, poses a severe threat. In response, we have not only declared the drug epidemic a health emergency and a national security threat, but we have also been taking steps to address this issue by establishing a dedicated national body to tackle drug abuse in Liberia. I urge international community to join Liberia in addressing this escalating drug crisis. Excellencies,
The Assembly.
Day 2, 2024 of the Executive Order 131 to create the Office of Establishment of War and Economic Crime Court for Liberia, a key recommendation from the Truth and Reconciliation process in Liberia. Our actions align with the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, joint follow-up on impunity and past human rights violations. As we embark on the process and acknowledge the enormity of the task, my government seeks the support of the United Nations, partners, stakeholders in the pursuit of justice for victims, peace, and reconciliation. Liberia is facing a drug crisis that is affecting our youth and jeopardizing the country's future. This epidemic, driven by international criminal enterprises and their networks, poses a severe threat. In response, we have not only declared the drug epidemic a health emergency and a national security threat, but we have also been taking steps to address this issue by establishing a dedicated national body to tackle drug abuse in Liberia. I urge international community to join Liberia in addressing this escalating drug crisis. Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the world is facing numerous crises, including global threats such as disease, security, and climate change, as well as food and resource shortages. Our vulnerabilities are evident, and we need to use a collective knowledge to find solutions that will preserve the planet for future generations. Climate change is undeniably real, and its threat to our environment and the way of life is becoming increasingly apparent. We must take urgent action to address this threat, including cooperative effort to implement Article 6.2 of the Paris Agreement. Liberia, as the most forested country in West Africa, with over half of the land covered by forests, plays a vital role in biodiversity and environmental sustainability. As a result, our country is taking important steps to lead conversation on climate action. My government has called on our legislators and stakeholders to begin looking at the Paris Agreement, particularly under Article 6, to help advance actions towards establishing Liberia's nationally determined contribution to combat climate change. While we take these actions, we are mindful of the need to build capacity and invest in critical areas of our economy, such as using alternative financing for investment in the blue and green economy and technological transfer to support these climate actions. Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the goals we set for ourselves and the future are better served on the foundation of peace and security. Having enjoyed peace for over 2 decades following a long-running conflict, we aim to promote peace and stability at home, in the region, and globally. The threat of conflict to our shared world underscores the importance of collaborative efforts to foster regional and global stability and peace. Therefore, we support all the UN's effort to address peace and security issues worldwide. Liberia is concerned about escalating security challenges in the West African region, including terrorism and economic and political instability. These pose significant threat to regional peace. So we urge full dialogue and cooperation among West African nations to address these issues effectively. Meanwhile, Liberia firmly stands with the rest of West Africa in a resolve to maintain our 50-year-old Regional Economic Commission, ECOWAS, intact. We oppose efforts to disintegrate our union and will not accept the region being used for proxy conflicts. We look at the AU and the UN to support us in keeping the regional body united. Similarly, at a global level, we call for an immediate ceasefire in the Middle East to provide civilians and essential humanitarian relief. We urge both Israel and the Palestinians to engage in negotiations towards lasting peace, including a two-state solution. Additionally, we see the ongoing conflict in the Ukraine as a threat to global peace and security. Therefore, there is an urgent need for a peaceful resolution that also respects Ukraine's territorial integrity. Mr. President, Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, this year's Assembly is a pivotal moment for Liberia's bid to ascend to the African non-permanent seat of the United Nations Security Council 2026. We have proudly announced our candidacy. We look forward to the support of the member states to vote Liberia overwhelmingly to the seat of the Security Council. We can work with Council members to promote peace, justice, and security. Liberia is dedicated to promoting sustainable growth and ensuring human dignity for all. Liberia is prepared to work together with the United Nations and global allies and international community to accomplish the sustainable development goals establish a fair, peaceful, and sustainable world. The commitment to unity is deeply ingrained in Liberia's history as a founding member of the United Nations and a post-war international institution, as well as region and sub-regional organizations. It also affirms our strong belief in multilateralism and international rules and based world built on shared values and principles are crucial to the future. The future of a more peaceful, prosperous, sustainable world must be all-encompassing, fair.
The suspects.
So, Beck, on yesterday, the police had a press conference calling on the public to be very kind as they go into this case. The government is also calling on the U.S. embassy to come in with independent DNA test. Why can't you wait on the government?
We cannot wait because the police have not taken the same stand when it comes to other people or when it was about other rape suspects. There are families who can attest that their sons and brothers are in South Beach today just based on rape allegations. So why is the police asking for DNA, asking for patients? This incident occurred since August 30th. Today is September 18th. You should also join in asking why the delay. On August 14th last month, I ensured one massacre who raped a 14-year-old girl went to South Beach. On August 15th last month, I ensured a Harris who raped a young lady went to South Beach. So they didn't ask me. But obviously, we're on the same state. No, that's somebody's business.
So today said folks, good morning, good afternoon, whatsoever you are.
So we like to say a pleasant good evening to the round table, and we're here tonight. Today is Tuesday, the 23rd of September 2025, and it's a great pleasure to be on here tonight as we are here to talk about, all of the training news across Liberia. The roundtable comes on Tuesday and Thursday, beginning at 10 o'clock Liberian time, 10 o'clock p.m. Liberian time, and 6 o'clock p.m. the U.S. time. Let me say good evening to you, Mr. Abu, and welcome to this week's presentation of the program.
Thank you so much, William. Having a good evening, and everything is going well tonight. I'm having a feedback. Now it's better. I hope everything is going well. And to you, our viewers out there, want to say welcome to all of you. My name is Samuel Abu, and we're going to be bringing you just our views on the roundtable. Tonight, we'll be talking mainly about President of Liberia, His Excellency Joseph Nyomo Boakai's speech at the United Nations, which was given less than 1 hour ago. And we'll also be talking about George Weah's arrival in Monrovia yesterday, the conflicts and maybe the benefits. We will be discussing it and other issues. Later tonight, maybe discussing all of these issues. We'll also be including the coming diasporal conference, which will be spearheaded by President Joseph Nyomo Boakai in Washington, D.C., and later in Maryland State, there will also be a town hall meeting for all of Liberians living in the United States so that they can have an opportunity to meet with the president. They will have an opportunity to ask the questions. They will have an opportunity to understand some of the things that they do not know already. My name is Samuel Abu. I now turn you over. I want to say welcome to all of you. Please like and also share, and we'll be listening to you. Join us in a conversation. If there's anything you wouldn't understand, just join us. We'll be able to talk with you. So thank you for coming on. So the roundtable, Bill. William, are you muted? Okay. You are muted.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much. And
Again, like I said, it's actually a great pleasure to come on tonight and with all of these fascinating discussions. We play in the president's speech there from the United Nations Summit there today. Like you said, 1 hour ago, he gave this speech, and we just want us to be able to look at what this speech means for us as Liberians, and and the impact the speech is going to have on the nation as a whole, especially on a global stage like the United Nations General Assembly that has been hosted there in the US. So, Mr. Abu, I don't know, should we get it over or should we just continue with the discussion? Because we played it not too long ago.
Just play a little bit of it. Actually, if you can, maybe just start it over. Maybe play about 5 minutes of it, and let's see how far it will go. And we'll be telling time to meet. But before that speech, I think let's talk about the return of George Weah to Monrovia, because we're expecting Alfonso Yena. He's a big moderator and we'll be analyzing this speech today. But I want us to talk about, while we are with him, let's talk about George Weah's arrival in Monrovia yesterday. What really happened? I was not in Monrovia. I heard there were a few conflicts. The sympathizers voters were having a series of conflicts with the security, because I don't know what happened. When this thing normally happens, they don't want to follow rules. And there are rules. Even when George Weah was president, there were rules that they expected people to follow. I don't see no reason that they wouldn't want to follow rules. But let's see what happened there yesterday. Play a few clips from it.
Okay, let me.
Police. He is resisting arrest. He is resisting arrest.
So they are not carrying. Yeah. So as you can see, after you are being arrested,
for no reason. So
the official vehicle belonging to Christopher Baba 112. Deputy Commissioner is popularly known as.
Were you among the guys who were throwing stones? No.
Never.
Can you confirm that people were throwing stones?
I'm not.
Doing pattern through the police of provide water to surveillance. Why not today?
So what's the disappointment?
Because I'm very disappointed because police.
Mr. Abu, you listen to those clips? And,
yes. You see, we are looking at, first, somebody was arrested. They will say he kept telling the journalist that he did nothing. But I know something happened. There would have been, because police wouldn't make a move until there is a probable cause. And that probable cause was an attempt by this person either to violate the law or he has already violated the law. At the time when they came to the airport is a place that is very busy. If you come in with a crowd, you also have to follow the rules of the airport security, because the airport security wouldn't be enough to control after noticing that George Weah was coming. I've been talking about it. So the police director will not say it and say where they will put everything out of chaos. So they decided to fortify the airport, not to beat anybody, but to be able to give direction to where these welcoming crowds can be. And they must understand that the plane or the flight that was bringing George Weah was not the only one on that flight. And in addition to that, since he was not the only one, there are other people there. And again, I understand there was another very important delegation that was coming to the government of Liberia, I think from the MCC Compact Group. So they needed to give them a space. And at the same time, they needed the airport to be clear of any conflict. So many of them went ahead and wanted to swarm the airport, especially the arrival section. But police said, no, you cannot be here. You are not witness. If you want somebody to, you are waiting for somebody in regular times, they can say, okay, we can only accept one person here. If they can even accept, you can only accept one person. But then they want to go to a big crowd. Police said, no, then we have to give you a perimeter. You have to stay away from here and go way to the junction where no matter what time George Weah counts, he will end up passing away. Okay, but many of them who go, the big guys in CDC, they normally like to use the smaller guys for their own benefits, and they'll send them there to go and misbehave. And many of them misbehavior in the sense that they don't want to follow rules because they want you to follow the rules and the laws at the airport. The airport in any country is the face of the country. That's the face of the country. You can't go there and behave as if you are sitting near a fire hut where everybody will come to warm themselves. So, looking at this, we felt that they misbehaved. You know, the police being professional, they decided to ask them to leave. But then they had to see, oh, we have to wait for Akari's grave. We have to wait for this person, for this person. Who are those people? Those are just ordinary people in the system. And nobody cares whether they exist or they don't exist, you know. But they go there, they create the havoc. If they knew at this state, then I want to tell the CDC people, let their officials be the first to arrive at some of these places so that they'll be able to coordinate with the security so that they can show them exactly where they want it to be positioned. Or when the lower people go there, the ones that they call the seditious or the Weahians, when they reach there, they are the first to start violating, disrespecting the security, and at the same time making it look like when George Weah was president, similar thing never happened before. Those are the same things that we have been seeing. These are the people who took part in the war, and those are the people who only came on existence during the war. So everything that they are used to is violence. Everything, they don't follow instructions. They are self-read people.
Are you saying people that support the CDC are people who fight the
Not
war?
all of them. Those who misbehaved yesterday are the self-read people. They don't follow instructions. The police did their best. Tell them, no, don't stand here. But then they will stand there, they start throwing rocks at the police. That is wrong.
Mr. Abu, some of the supporters claim that the government was afraid because, you know, they were going to raise as much group of people at the airport in terms of, you know, raising awareness that George Weah, who is the former president, is going to come back and win the election comes 2029. So the government was afraid, and they decided to bring out some tactics and include the police to barricade the main entrance of the airport.
Well, thank God that remains a perception. But George Weah is nobody. He's just an ordinary person with the title of former president. But George Weah knows that, you know, I'm still getting feedback.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, George Weah knows that he cannot be president and a peaceful president between now and 2029. So I don't think the security are afraid of him. They just want to keep the peace to maintain that wherever you have people crowded, there is a high likeliness that there will be conflict. The airport, as I said earlier, is the face of the country. Wherever they went yesterday, George Weah will meet them there. He will still meet them in crowds. They didn't have to go to the airport. But if that is the way they use to receive George Weah, yes, some were even calling him president. He's not president. He lost the election. Let him wait for his time.
They claim he's a president for them.
Yeah, he's a president for them, presidential candidate for them, but he's not a president. You know, You know, because all the nomenclature that people use in Liberia makes some people think that, you know, they are gods and demagogues. You know, George Weah is not president. He's a former president of Liberia coming back. We agreed that they could welcome him. Yes. But if you go to the airport, that is not your own, that is not your area. We saw them even at the past headquarters. There were times people were afraid when they swam in there, they would block the traffic and all of this. But that was George Weah's administration. And nobody will move them from there. You have to go and beg them. But we are past that time where we have to pet them to be able to move from place to place. If you tell them, don't come here, those are security people. Anything that you have, you pose to the threat of the security, and even the individual security by himself, you expect him to react immediately. Because if you go and start throwing rocks at the security, any of them can get hurt. So what do? They go in the defense mode. So yesterday, security had to come to make sure that you stay far off, so that when George Weah himself comes, he's not going to be like a football player coming from the football field where everybody's going to run. He believes that he should be a diplomat. Now they just appointed him as some chairman on one committee for FIFA. He should be able to be playing more of a diplomatic role. And in things like this, he should be able to send a signal to his people that to say, the calmer that you become, the more calm you are, the better you have chances for that time. But every time when you cause this chaos, you are taking people away from your campaign, because not everybody wants to see the campaign go this way. And this is why all of these, they won the election, the entire 6th term was all a disrespect for them. Every time. The entire 6th term. For the last 3 years, everywhere people were saying George Weah must go, George Weah must go. And he said he saw the signs. That's why even before the last ballot was counted, he threw in the gauntlet. Before the last ballot, he gave up. He called to say, well, I lost the election, because he knew that he would never rule Liberia again. His time has ended.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr.
There was another thing I saw there. We just say they wanted him to use the VIP. No, the VIP at the airport is a presidential thing. No matter whether it was built, renovated, or whatever happened to it by George Weah, it was not done by George Weah. It was done during his administration. And it's not his money that they use to make it like his 9th Street residence or to make it like his Jamaica resort. Yeah, where he has it over. That is for the government. And as long as you are not in government, you don't have authority over it. So you cannot say that George Weah is former president, so he has right to it. No, the right to use that presidential thing must be decided by the president and the protocol. If the protocol do not see it necessary for you to use it, you go through the general hangar.
Okay? But this is not the first time of that situation. I don't know why it keeps surfacing. This is not the first time. I think similar situation happened again with George Weah, and his supporter claims that he's the immediate former president and should be given an access to the VIP or whatever at the airport. So this is not something really strange that has happened, and I don't think it should be something that would be a surprise situation for his supporters.
Yes, it's because of lack of information. Even though many of them got the information, they feel that situations can change. If they force it, they will use it. But I must remind all of them, you cannot eat your cake and have it. You lost the election, you are not president. You don't have presidential authority until you go to your CDC headquarters, which is where you have your people. That's where you have your presidential authority, or within your administration and structure of your party. That's where you have your presidential authority. But when it comes to using Liberia as a state, you don't have a presidential authority, and it is only the president, Joseph Numa Boakai, or the protocol that will decide whether you should use that VIP lounge at the airport. If you take things lightly, if you decide to negotiate, you may get it. But every time it must be a negotiation. It mustn't be something like a carte blanche, that once you did it before, it must always go. They keep looking for a way of conflict. But I should tell them, in Liberia, Liberians are not ready for any conflict. The more they create conflict, the more they take people away from their campaign. And the more they will see that George Weah will even retire, maybe for 2029, or right after he loses 2029, if he's even going to contest. After he loses the election, was when maybe he will decide, just how he put down his boots at the FIFA, But we have to understand, the CDC supporters must understand that they are not in power. George Weah is not the president, and they should respect the current government. I hear them say every project that the president is that this government is doing. Some people say it's the president that is carrying the project. No, it is the government. Government is continuity. If it was during George Weah administration, they signed a contract and they never kicked up the contract, and the contract, we can't abandon it because the government has spent some money. We can't abandon it. We have to continue this time. So people cannot be saying all the time, George Weah started this project and this person. Let's give our developmental programs to our presidents. Let it be the government.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Abu. And we already have our guest in, like you rightly said. So we have to welcome him and kickstart with our next discussion point after the whole CDC situation there. So let me say good evening. Okay, good evening and welcome.
Mr. Yeno, how are you?
I am good. I'm good. Thank you. Unfortunately, I'm at a train station and I will be jumping on a train very soon in about 15 minutes, but I can hopefully we can cover some ground before that time. You might also hear noise in the background because I'm at a train.
Okay, so let's start right away. I don't think you want the clip to be played again, the president's speech.
I had the opportunity of listening to the president.
Listening to it. Okay. Okay. Can you just introduce yourself, sir?
So my name is Alfonso Nyena. I'm Liberian. I live in the United States. In Liberia, I worked as a journalist and as a human rights advocate with the Justice and Peace Commission, with ELCM. Also produced the Justice and Peace Forum on almost all of the radio stations in Liberia. Yeah, that's me. That's my story.
Okay. Since we have a little time, let's talk about President Joseph Boakai's time. I think you are part of the diaspora conference that will be coming very soon on the 25th to the 27th. That is this weekend, right?
Yes, 26th,
okay.
the 28th, the 26th, and the 27th are actual conference deliberations, and Sunday the 28th will be the president of the Republic of Liberia, who's also chief convener of the diaspora conference, will be doing a town hall on Sunday the 28th to climax the consultative conference.
You've been talking around, so what do we expect from this conference?
So the goal of the conference is to speak to and dialogue with Liberians in the global diaspora and get their ideas and their suggestions and their thoughts and even their criticisms on 4 key issues that were identified. Now, those 4 key issues were identified through a survey by Liberians in the diaspora. A survey was conducted by the planners of the conference. It was sent around, basically around the world where Liberians are located. And those people who responded to the survey identified 4 key areas: reconciliation, education, health, and investment in Liberia. So the conference will focus on those 4 topics. Basically, as I said, the government is seeking the input and involvement of Liberians in the diaspora on these issues, as they also continue the dialogue inside Liberia with Liberians on these and other issues as well. So what do we expect? We expect engagement of all Liberians in the diaspora. We expect that they will come up with suggestions. We stop talking behind the house or in our basements and living rooms, and come up with concrete suggestions on how to address the challenges that Liberia is facing particularly around these four key issues. We talk about how other countries, Ghana and this other country and other country, are developed or are making progress or moving forward. We Liberians didn't go there to do those things for them. They did them themselves as Liberians. So we Liberians should now begin to focus on how we Liberians can move our country forward, particularly those of us in the diaspora. And that's what this conference is seeking to achieve.
The global diaspora. How do we come out with the attendees?
Thank you very much. So just as I said, just as a survey was done and sent around, a website was created, a link was shared across the world, and broadcasted virtually, and also sent to leaders from the different organizations around the world to spread to their colleagues so that they can register to participate in the conference. So basically, this is a very open forum where anybody who got the link could register and participate. And this was very intentional. For a very long time, our peace and reconciliation and investment conferences have focused on just calling the same old leaders and other people around, the same people from conference to conference, from conference to conference. So the planners of this conference decided, look, let's do a little differently. Let's get the people who haven't had the voice, the local people who don't usually sit at a table or don't have a chance to go to radio stations and have their voices heard. Let's bring them to the table. So that is how, participants were decided. They really registered to come. Now, let me add that in addition, we have about 500 to 600 people who will be in person. And we have about another 600 to 700 people who have registered to participate virtually in the conference.
Will people from Liberia also participate? Do you have some of those people in Liberia participate?
Yes.
Is it like some other of our former conferences where leaders in specific areas, like in the area of energy, in the area of commerce, agriculture, technology, the leaders in those places presenting papers?
Yes. So it will be a dual kind of it will. So it'll be I hate to say dual, I hate to say hybrid, but let me describe it. So people from Liberia who have been working in those sectors will present, and diaspora Liberians will also have the opportunity to present. So we have people in the diaspora presenting, we have people from Liberia presenting, and we have somebody who's not a Liberian. For example, somebody from Rwanda who experienced the Rwanda genocide and also the Rwandan reconciliation process is going to come and share his experiences about, what happened in Rwanda, and maybe we can learn some lessons from that. And then after those presentations, which will really be a small part of the conference, there will be breakout sessions. Those sessions will be longer. All of the participants will have an opportunity to pick a breakout session to join. And that's where the real discussions and deliberations will take place. And that's where the recommendations will come from.
And this will take place in Washington, D.C.?
This is taking place in Washington, D.C. It's at a DoubleTree Hotel. I do not remember the address right now, but it's DoubleTree in Washington, D.C. That's where this 2-day deliberations will take place. And the town hall, the president's town hall, on Sunday will take place at a church in Maryland, because again, we wanted a bigger venue, and the hotel cannot hold more than 600-700 people because of fire restrictions. This church can take over 1,000 people, and so that is why the town hall was moved to this church.
Okay, now we've talked about this. President Joseph Boakai today delivered his annual speech to the General Assembly. You did listen to it. What specifically did you get from it?
I'm impressed with his government's expressed commitment to development, to fighting drug abuse in the country, to promoting. He talked about promoting unity and democracy in the West Africa sub-region, keeping ECOWAS together. That his administration will not allow external interventions to break up ECOWAS, which I assume the belief is taking place. He talked about elevating women and girls in Liberia, and I think those were. And he talked about global peace and security. He talked about Liberia ascending to the UN Security Council on behalf of Africa, and I think those were very very salient points.
Yeah, those could be the major points when, but you also remember yesterday he had a speech when he spoke at the gender conference.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, and there I think he spoke about let's say, let me be very frank, he did talk about, let me get my paper here. What he did yesterday, he did reaffirm his government's commitment to gender equality and youth empowerment. That was the major focus of his speech yesterday. And at that place, he also said, which was a conference on women, and he said he pledged to move from promise to tangible resource. That was something that I just could not understand. What do you mean? Especially in implementing the Beijing Declaration.
Yep. So the Beijing Declaration basically is a commitment by the United Nations and the world to elevate women. As we all know, in many societies in the world, women are suppressed, and so the world made this commitment, and he was basically expressing the commitment of the Liberian government to honor and to pursue the principles of the Beijing Declaration. I think one important point is cited as example today, which was very significant, is that Liberia produced the first female president of the United Nations,
Angie Brooks
Randolph, and Liberia
also produced
the first and only female president
in Africa.
So far. The great United States doesn't have a female president yet. Very few countries in the world do. So we're not there yet in terms of achieving universal rights for women, but these are baby steps that we need to build upon to do more. There's also the issue of rape in Liberia. There's the issue of girls not going to school, selling markets. These are things that I think the government should prioritize and address. And those are the things that have been included, some of the things that have been included on the agenda for the upcoming dialogue in Washington, D.C.
Yeah, he also discussed, he was also stressing empowering women and young people in the center, as a central focus in sustaining peace, growth, and resilience in the country. And at the same time, the president today in his speech, can you remember when he said that when he talked about Liberia trying to take steps in confronting its conflict past by promoting healing? I think you heard that one too, promoting healing, which Dr. Don and others were spearheading when they had to redo the reburial of certain people who they feel their families were being affected or were not properly laid to where they're supposed to be.
Yep. So that's basically part of the government's reconciliation plan. There are exhumation and reburial of President Doe, memorial service for President Tubber and the 13 government officials who were killed. Executive Order 151, which talk about modalities for setting up a war crimes tribunal. Because all of these things, you need accountability to achieve reconciliation and peace. There's no way somebody come to your house and just kill all your people and knock your house down, burn it down, and walking around, but at the same time come to you and say, oh, let's reconcile, but they're still doing the same bad things. So we need to confront injustice. We need to build, we need good governance. in order to accomplish reconciliation and genuine peace. So I think those were very important points. And the conference will be discussing those. So key aspects of the conference on reconciliation will actually be addressing those things, but also generating suggestions from us here in terms of what other things should be done to accomplish real, true, genuine reconciliation and peace.
I also listened to the president when he talked about what the government is doing to fortify democratic culture. That was when he even stated that we have had full, peaceful elections since the war in Liberia, and transitions have been very peaceful. And that was one of the major things he said has been an achievement in Liberia, not necessarily an achievement of his government.
Yes. So building a democratic culture is extremely, extremely important for peace and progress. And a democratic culture means that everybody must understand that the law is the law, the rule is the rule. People's voices must be heard and respected. And that's what I believe we're speaking to when you talk about democratic culture. Former President Weah, play a role in that, which is that, the voice of the people is the voice of the people. When you are defeated, you leave. I'm glad he left. I mean, we shouldn't give him, I would personally would not give him accolades for leaving, but I must say that I acknowledge that he did the right thing. And unfortunately, in our country, we still continue to experience a semblance or sense of lawlessness where people think they can just do anything and get away with it, force their way through systems, break the law, which I believe, and when I enter, you guys were having a conversation about that, as particularly the situation at the airport yesterday. I think we need to get away from that. And one of the ways we'll get away from that is, for authorities to enforce the law vigorously. We need to respect the law. The law is that there's nowhere in the world where trunks of people just run to airport, enter terminal, and start making noise. The terminal is the airport is the gateway to the country. It's an economic hub. Business people, everybody enter through there. There cannot always be chaos. We can't be fighting all the time to enter terminal. Everything has to be respected. I also blame the police somewhat because they should set up barricades that people cannot cross. And anyone who forces their way through the barricade has broken the law and must be arrested. And if we do this and there are consequences, people will watch what they say and what they do.
Yeah. Well, minus that, let's also look at the president's address on the drug crisis, especially which he says is affecting the youth, and they have PERS, which is also posing severe threat to the economy and many other things in the country. I think he said they have created some emergency, it's an emergency health situation. I know you will soon be joining your train, leaving from where, Trenton back to Jersey, okay. So this thing you're saying the sub-region, we know that the drugs in the sub-region are actually coming in, especially the recent arrest of drugs. The president says we are not going to accept the region to be used for proxy conflict, because many people want to start a conflict in West Africa where the concentration will be why they use it as a means, to be carrying their drugs, to be passing it through, because when people are behind rebel lines, everything is in chaos and other things, people don't come up. So we're saying that the president actually said that he's not going to allow these things to be coming through, especially in these kind of conflict times. Okay. Then what about his support to address conflicts in the world? You are muted.
I'm muted. Sorry. Can you repeat that question, please?
The president's support on the UN's effort to address conflicts around the world.
I think that was significant. I think that was really significant. He talked about the war in Ukraine and the need to address it. He talked about conflicts in Africa. He talked about just peace. It's important to accomplish just peace that respects the rights of people. He talked about the conflict in Gaza. and the need to end that conflict in a just manner as well. He talked about promoting peace in the West Africa, sub-region, and Africa as a whole. So I think those are very, very significant points, and especially so because Liberia is on the path to joining the United Nations Security Council, where it might be able to exercise that influence with other members of the Security Council.
Yeah, that's just why specifically he said, while looking forward to join as non-permanent member to the Security Council in 2026. He says that will be the major thing that Liberia will be pushing for, to have a peaceful resolution in most of the conflicts around the world. And I think he said that Liberia will continue to follow the path, a development path, creating an agenda for Liberia to be developed more, and helping the international community in taking care of some of the threats that are around the world.
Unfortunately, I have to go. Like, Twins are about to leave. The guy is asking me to pay, so I have my credit card in my hand to pay. So thank you all. I hope to come back. Thanks for the opportunity.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Alfonso.
Thank you so much for coming out. Yeah, that is it right there. So maybe we could just play a little bit of
the president's speech, because most people listen to our analysis of it, but they didn't hear the speech as well. Before they say we lied to them, we don't want them to hear it themselves.
Okay.
Thank you. He's muted.
7th and 9th session of the United Nations General Assembly. His Excellency Mr. Antonio Guterres, Secretary General of the United Nations, Excellencies, Heads of State and Government, Ambassadors, Heads of Delegations, and esteemed delegates, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I'm honored to address the 79th regular session of the United Nations General Assembly for the first time as President on behalf of the government and people of Liberia after a smooth back-to-back democratic transition. Liberia congratulates His Excellency Philemon Yagon on his election as President of the 79th session of the United Nations General Assembly. You can be assured of Liberia's support as you steer the affairs of the General Assembly. I extol His Excellency Dennis Francis for his astute leadership during his presidency of the 78th session of the General Assembly and commend his determination to inspire and rekindle hope globally. I deeply thank Secretary General Antonio Guterres for the remarkable and visionary leadership he continues to provide in pursuit of our collective mandate. Mr. President, Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, in the summer of 1945, Liberia joined other nations in San Francisco as one of the original signatories to the United Nations Charter. On that fatal day, the world, having suffered the scourge of war, was full of hope and determined to reverse the past. Nearly 80 years on, and reflecting on the preamble of the United Nations Charter, which declares our commitment to promote social progress and better standard of life and larger freedom, we ask the question, has our reaffirmation of faith in the dignity and worth of human person made 8 decades ago, had been realized? We must admit that the world has changed and the frontiers that we now embrace are different. In it, greed, insensitivity to the poor, the international drug epidemic, money laundering, dynamics of climate change, and the impact of social media must compel us to rethink our approach to global peace and security. Our beloved United Nations must undergo the institutional and philosophical reflections required to respond to the new age. As we assemble under this theme, Unity in Diversity for Advancement of Peace, Sustainable Development, and Human Dignity for Everyone, everywhere, it is important to recognize the shared values and collective efforts that come from our unity with diversity. We must acknowledge these as essential for the advancement of peace, sustainable development, and the inherent dignity of every human being worldwide. By doing so, we can build a better world where no one is left behind. Like many nations gathered at this assembly, Liberia recommits to the Sustainable Development Goals. Since the end of the country's conflict, we have strived to follow a development path that will lead to building a capable state. 12 years ago, we dared to dream of a future within the realm of possibility, harboring core national aspirations to transform the future. Named Liberia Rising or Vision 2030, it has been the driving force behind all of our planning efforts. The building of blocks and the tenets of Vision 2030 are significantly aligned with the Sustainable Development Goals. Our government's Arrest agenda is a comprehensive approach developed to address the economic and social needs of millions of Liberians, especially the youth, who account for 60% of our population. With emphasis on agriculture, roads, infrastructure, development, justice, and the rule of law, education, sanitation, health, and tourism, the agenda had mainstreamed the SDGs as it's designed to take Liberia to the finish line of the 2030 Sustainable Development Goals. The fight against poverty, the promotion of human dignity, a steadfast commitment. Despite our progress, poverty remains a significant challenge, with over half of our population living below the poverty line. The Sustainable Development Goals aim to eradicate poverty in all forms by 2030, ensure social protection for the poor and vulnerable, improve the access to essential services. Liberia is dedicated to assessing the levels and the causes of poverty and implementing strategies to reduce it and promote shared prosperity. My government also acknowledges pressing need to address maternal and newborn mortality by implementing robust monitoring and evaluation of health services in the country to accelerate the reduction of maternal and newborn mortality. We are particularly blessed and pleased with the United Nations HC Joint Mission to Liberia this year, which concluded a commitment to combat the high burden of increasing newborn deaths. We welcome the United Nations General Assembly's decision to declare July 25th as the International Day of Women and Girls of African Descent this year. This significant milestone acknowledges that women and girls of African descent have unique opportunities, but they also have challenges that the global fight against slavery and racism is necessary to achieve gender equality. Liberia credits its credentials by producing the first woman president of the United Nations General Assembly, Angie Brooks Randall, and first female president of Africa, President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. Liberia has witnessed and continues to witness the immense contribution of women and girls of African descent in politics, culture, and every area of societal development. Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen.
So it's great, and is absolutely, great to be back. You listen to the president's speech, and we shortly will be trying to conclude with the program. Mr. Abu, let's just get your own, point of view and your take on the president message.
What I want to say is that the president's speech was like a picture of what Liberia is today, the problems, the challenges that the government is facing, and what actions are being taken to solve some of these challenges. Most of these challenges are not things that started during his administration. He inherited them. We are not saying from George Weah. They are inherited from the war days. It would take us several years or decades to be able to overcome those challenges that came along with the war. Like where we said yesterday, people do not understand what is it to follow rules and regulations. The president says these are all challenges. The drug business, is an emergency in our country. The security in the West African region and the global at all are many major concerns, because sometimes when one problem happens in one place, it affects many other places. When there is conflict in Liberia, we are going to have people moving from Liberia to Guinea, Sierra Leone, Ghana, everywhere. They will all feel our conflict. So he's trying to tell us, the community and the government, what can we do to hold on some of these things? The government has continued. Liberia itself has had 4 successful, peaceful elections with peaceful transitions. That means we are upholding democracy. But now it should go along with the rule of law and justice for all. We should have a time to respect the women. Every program around the world, they are asking now that women should have their part to play in it. And Liberian government is going through this. Our women are being recognized. Our women are doing great. Liberia took the lead to be the first to produce the first female president of the United Nations General Assembly. Liberia took the lead to have the first female president in Africa. And that is a record that is there. But there are many other things that the government is doing, But he mainly stressed about things, the connection of what the government is doing to what is expected on the global table or on the global platform. Women and children, maternity, these are all the things that they look at on a global. Now, for justice, the government established the Office of War Crime Court, which was in line with the recommendation of the TRC. This government has done it, whether it's going to work, but the government has done it, and it's left with us, Liberians, through the commitment and support of the international community to uphold all of these things to help us to move it forward. Because that is the greater platform than the United Nations, he had to present them all of these things that Liberia is doing at this time and asking for their support and what Liberia stands for, especially to see joining other nations to uphold the 50-year-old ECOWAS so that it cannot break down, so that we are not going to allow people to bring conflict to break down ECOWAS. We already see other countries are trying to threaten to leave ECOWAS. So Liberia is joining with the other countries so that we can uphold it, so that we cannot allow it to break down. He also mentioned something about the impact of social media. Because of the impact of social media, he called on the world community to rethink their approach to global conflicts or to global situations. because social media is influencing a lot of things. So they want the social media to go side by side with global development, because it is happening in many areas now. Commerce has come, politics also. This time we can have meetings. I can sit down right here in America and you are sitting there in Liberia and we are talking as if we are just two friends sitting at a table talking to each other. These are all social influence, social media influence, and we should be able to follow it up, And one thing he was also concerned about, especially in Liberia, the fight against poverty. He said, poverty remains a major challenge with over half of the population living below the poverty line. This is a great challenge. And he named some of the things that the government is doing. Agriculture, the agenda of this government, including agriculture. These are the things that they are moving towards to make sure that food security is part of the thing that they work on. So, but I think generally the speech was very excellent. The president represented Liberia very well. And I think he did not say everything, but in Liberia, we normally say, man can take all. Man can talk all. He didn't go there to present to the world community all of our problems, but those major ones that we believe that the world community can have an influence on. And it is not only in Liberia. These are the same things that are happening to almost all the countries. If you listen to maybe about 3/4 or 80% of the speeches that are given, they are no different from what President Boakai gave today. It's just like maybe the same speech writers wrote all of them. Because when you talk about women and children, every community talk about it. I heard it from the Sierra Leone president. I heard it from the Sierra Leone president talks tomorrow, but the chief minister spoke about it yesterday. I heard it from the Ghanaian president during the first quarter today. And President Boakai actually spoke this afternoon, late around 5 o'clock, which was, he was the 13th person to speak in the afternoon session, where they had almost about 18 people speaking. They gave them short time because the countries are so many in the world. New countries are coming up every day. Countries are breaking from others, So I think he did an excellent job, really.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Abu. Let's just try to do a roundup of all of our talking points, starting up with yesterday's situation at the airport between the CDC and the police officers assigned to making sure we can have a relatively calm airport situation yesterday, because a lot of them gathered to welcome their political leader and also a concluding statement on the president speech, like you just said.
Yeah, the thing is that the airport is a gateway to our country. To the Freeport, goods come there, but the human beings mainly come through the airport. So this is why even the United States, everywhere around the world, they try to bring in this thing they call the TSA. The TSA is responsible for the airport security. Every security at the airport, it takes TSA training. That is, we should have a uniform mode of operation at all airports around the world. So if we are going to have our airport, that because Mr. John Doe is coming, so the entire group goes there, it becomes a red flag, you see. But I would just want to say, maybe the police underestimated what was going to happen yesterday. What I heard, some of the supporters of Mr. Weir saying, oh, they are afraid of us. No, we are not afraid of you. The police are not afraid of you. You can't do anything at that airport. But it is just for your own sake, because they leave it all by yourself. You violate the law. You violate the rules, and there are consequences for every violation of the rule. you may get beaten. You may get arrested. The other fellow was arrested. Why? Because he was physically seen throwing stones. But then after he gets caught, I did not do anything. I did not do anything. Nobody ever does anything until he's caught. He was caught doing it. You know, police was not trying to intimidate him. It was not intimidation. Let's hear what he said.
Yes, racist, resisting arrest.
So they are not carrying. Yeah. So as you can see, after you have been arrested,
For no reason.
So the official people belonging to Christopher Baba 112. Deputy Commissioner is popularly known as.
But you have other guys who were throwing stones.
Never.
Can you confirm that people were throwing stones?
I'm not.
And now this attitude of civilians thinking that they can fight the police is very wrong. The police is trained and given a gun or a baton to protect himself. If you think that you are the King Kong, police will do anything to you. They can hide you, and they will have no answer to give to you. I think the police inspector general must start considering this thing and note that because of the disrespect for him and the entire security system, many people think that they were security before. They were never security. They belonged to quasi groups that were behaving like rebels. You have to forget your rebel days. You have to forget. When you get killed, you'll be killed for nothing. You went out yesterday, stayed out the entire day. You're waiting for George Ware. In the end, did they give you food? I heard a lady.
Have done that.
I heard a lady in the group. I was the one who was in the MOA with ECOMOG, and I made it to take over this airport. And we did it yesterday, and we can still do it today. What is that? That is a woman, as I saw in her face, she may have grandchildren. And these people who are men and women with children are the ones who go to disrespect authority. And in the end, this culture of disrespect keeps coming out. In the end, their children don't respect them because they themselves do not respect authority. You see a little child there standing insulting, using invectives against the president of the country, saying everything. You know, insulting him. Joseph Baka is a rogue. Joseph Baka is this. Has he stolen anything from them? Do they have any proof that he did something like that? No. I mean, this system of civilians thinking that they can overpower the police. If Gregory Coleman, as head for police, continues to sit down and watch, and instead of asking for more support to retrain his police for riot control, it doesn't have to be a special post for riot control. Every police that is true at that police command, at that police academy, should be able to protest. Yesterday, they were given, we had, how we call the things? They said they shot, how we call the thing? The tear gas on them. You know, some of them need to be tased. You know, the police in Monrovia need to have tasers. You know, because if they have tasers and you are shot without a taser, you get shocked, you fall down there, you lie down there. After 3 minutes, you wake up, you're very weak and tired. Maybe they'll have to take you to the hospital. I think some people will start respecting the police. And another thing, the police need to start looking for small arms. What is this commission on small arms doing? Or they just sit down to register? They're not looking for arms? Somebody got to be out there to look for arms. Arms are entering the country. So people depending on something. I would not take that. That people think they can be challenging the security. That is wrong. CDC must not look, supporters must not look at themselves as a fighting force. They are not. They are a political party. They are not a fighting force. If they just get away from it. But I expect the leadership in CDC to be able to talk to their supporters. Not when you're looking at people like who calls himself Akaras Gray. I don't know whether that is his real name, Gray, because I know the Gray is his mother's name. That's not his father's name. So he behaves like somebody who is using a borrowed name. I am saying it. Because in our culture, you don't carry your mother's surname. That's his mother's surname. He behaves like a wayward. And then we look at Mr. George Weah. He came into government, appointed some irresponsible people into government. I would never go to lead a protest like that with kids behind me. If I'm in a protest, it must be people of my nature. But people who were yesterday deputy ministers, representatives, they are the ones who go to welcome George Weah and they turn it into a protest.
Do you think they have nothing to do? That's the reason why they're all into
that could be one of the things. They have lost their jobs. They got no jobs because they were not prepared. They had no career. They had no professions. Akaras Gray got no profession. I don't even know what he studied at the University of Liberia. Today he calls himself a politician. Except they are telling us that protest is another course that people have to go to do at the University of Liberia. At the time there is peace. Some of us were at that university when we had a military government in Liberia. We know what happened there. And we can tell some of them today that many of us are battle tested. We are battle tested. The noise that they cause in the streets there, it takes stones, throws a stone. By the time you shoot one gun, you see all of them running into the communities, running away. I think the police need to rethink about crowd and crowd control or protest control. We need to have many more correction centers for these people. Look, you cannot be afraid of the chief until you shake his hand with your left hand. That's a parable. You cannot be afraid of the chief until you shake his hand with your left hand because you're disrespecting him. We can be so democratic that even the people who come and step on our heads, we waive our rights and say, go free. The days of the biblical days are over. We can no longer live with them. Even Jesus Christ, when the people went and sold in the temple, he whipped them. We can't say we don't want to suppress their rights. That's not suppressing their rights when they do not know their rights. We have to start studying the root of some of these conflicts. It started a long time ago. At the University of Liberia, you see people wake up in the morning, they say, they have not paid the teachers, so we're going to protest. The next thing, the president of the university must resign. The chairman of this department must resign. You did not come to learn. You came to teach them. You know, Liberians must be very careful. Let the protest stop in this country. Nobody is perfect. Government is not an individual. It is an institution with individual actors. All of them may not do the best thing. All of them may not operate based on your expectation. Many of us are still here. We still talk about the days of Tobo, the days of Tubman, the days of Samuel Doe. Some of you have only seen one government, or only saw the Ellen Johnson Sirleaf government and George Weah government and Joseph Boakai government. Because some of those people there are like 25, 26 years old. You know, why do you look at this thing and feel that you can change the world? You cannot. Mr. Police Inspector General, please try to go back on your drawing table and see what you can do. I think I want to end there. But I want to ask you, what happened to the deputy minister for you? After his his dismissal as minister actually stopped the case? The police have not given us any new thing. The regular
there's no new update.
The regular Liberia thing, as long as that action has been taken, we'll forget about it. We need to follow up.
There's no new update, and I will try to do a follow-up on tomorrow.
Well, I want to say thank you. Our listeners out there, it's been a great thing listening to all of you. Ahmad MT Sese, you say you're watching from Viton. Thank you so much. Julie Pirwala, thank you too. Christopher Lamy, thank you very much for your contribution. LeBron, Jeremiah Favor, Wato Jr., thank you so much for being with us. And the next time you join us, talk about other things. But thank you for joining the round table. My name is Samuel Abu, and I'll turn you over to William, who will end the night with you.
I'd like to say thanks for joining us, and we'll be on here Thursday beginning at 10 p.m. Liberia time, better still at 6 p.m. the US time. And thanks to Mr. Abu for always being available, and also thanks to our guest for his contribution tonight on the round table. Until we talk Thursday with another fascinating discussion points, we wish you a wonderful night from Liberia.